So, what helped me to stop gooning? Just use willpower, bro. I know, if it was that easy, you wouldn't be watching this video. Everyone says that like it's some magic word. Just don't do it, bro. Just have discipline. Yeah, no shit. If I had that kind of discipline in the first place, I wouldn't have been doing it for years straight. So forget that advice. That's not what this video is. In the last video, I talked about my experience with gooning. If you haven't watched it yet, I recommend watching it first. It kind of sets up everything I'm about to say here. So the main thing I would say that helped me was that I was working a job. I didn't have much free time. Around that time, I used to masturbate after coming home from work, when I was taking a shower, or before sleeping. I think that helped me a lot. And I know that sounds kind of backwards. Like, why would having a job help with this? But hear me out on this one. You know, most of the time, the urges come when you're bored or when you see something on the internet. Like, think about when it actually happens to you. It's never in the middle of doing something productive, right? It's always when you're lying in bed scrolling, or you've got nothing to do, or you just woke up and you're still half asleep on your phone. Boredom is basically the number one trigger for all of this. At that time, I was neither bored nor had the time to scroll during the day. I was fucking working 8, sometimes 9 hours a day just doing the job, and by the time I got home, I was tired. My brain was occupied with actual real world stuff. But I still used to masturbate after coming home out of habit. And that's the thing I want to point out, because even with all that busy schedule, I still relapsed constantly at first. It wasn't like getting a job just magically fixed it. It was more like it removed one of the biggest reasons the urges happen in the first place, which freed me up to actually deal with the habit part separately. Because there's two different problems here, honestly. There's the boredom trigger, and then there's just the pure habitual part, where your body just expects it at a certain time regardless of how you're feeling. Like clockwork almost. Shower time, bedtime, boom, urge shows up whether you're horny or not. I was also watching some YouTubers about nofap that really helped me to see how disgusting this shit was. Not in a preachy way, just genuinely opened my eyes to what I was actually doing. Bro, what the fuck is wrong with us? How can we jerk off to 2 other people having sex? Or even worse, just literally think about it. Strip away all the normalization, all the everyone does it excuse, and just look at the actual action happening. It's kind of insane when you think about it plainly like that. No surprise, we have no confidence when we are fucking jacking off. Like, there's an actual reason for that. It's not just some coincidence. When your brain gets its dopamine from watching a screen, it has zero reason to go out and actually pursue anything real. Why would it? The screen's easier. It's available anytime. No rejection, no effort. So your brain just takes the path of least resistance every single time. And that path of least resistance is jerking off to a video instead of building actual confidence with real people. The main YouTuber I watched was called Hamza. You probably know him, probably not. You can check his nofap videos out if you want. They're pretty straightforward, no fluff, just breaks down why this stuff messes with your head. I watched a bunch of his stuff during the worst of my relapsing phase, and it kind of reframed how I saw the whole thing. Instead of thinking about it as, I'm trying to quit masturbating, I started thinking about it as, I'm trying to stop being controlled by a video on a screen, which honestly hits different when you phrase it like that. So, if you're down bad with this addiction and struggling to stop, don't try to stop at once. I think that's honestly where most people mess up. They watch one motivational video, get hyped up, decide, that's it, cold turkey starting today, and then 3 days later, they're right back at it, feeling worse than before, because now they also feel like a failure on top of everything. Going cold turkey works for some people, I guess, but for me, it just set me up to fail over and over. Here is what you should do. You gotta progressively deload the number of times you do it. For example, if you do it twice a day, reduce it to once. If you do it once a day, reduce it to every other day. Like that, keep reducing it until you're only doing it once a week. That's what I did at first. I told myself I am only going to goon on the weekend. And weirdly, that actually worked better for me than trying to just stop completely, because it gave my brain something to look forward to instead of feeling like everything was just being taken away all at once. After that, it wasn't that hard to completely stop, because once you're already down to once a week, The jump to zero isn't nearly as big as jumping from twice a day to zero. It's like weaning yourself off instead of ripping the band-aid off. And for something that's basically wired into your daily routine, weaning off just makes more sense to me. Also, just reducing isn't enough. You have to replace that habit with a new one, or something else. This is probably the part people skip the most, and it's honestly the most important part. Because if you just remove something from your day and don't put anything in its place, that empty space doesn't just disappear. It just sits there, nagging at you until you fill it back up with the same old habit. Your brain wants something to do at that time slot. It doesn't care what, it just wants stimulation. So as I said, I was working a job around that time. I didn't have much time to think about gooning. For you, if you're going to work or school, you have to fill your mind with what you are doing, so you have no time to think about gooning. That's honestly a built-in advantage if you're already busy with work or classes. Let your responsibilities eat up the hours you used to spend jacking off. Starting a new habit will also help. Do something else at the time you usually masturbate. Do something you like, going to the gym, learning to play the guitar, reading, whatever. Doesn't even have to be some crazy productive thing at first. Even just going for a walk instead of lying in bed counts. The point isn't necessarily what you replace it with right away. It's just building the muscle of doing literally anything else when that urge hits, instead of automatically defaulting to the same routine. If you can start to work on something like a goal you have, that's even better. That's what I did, because a goal gives you a reason to actually protect your time and energy, instead of just avoiding a bad habit for the sake of avoiding it. Like there's a difference between I'm not gonna goon today and I have shit to do today that actually matters to me. The second one just hits different. It's not willpower anymore at that point, it's just priorities. As I said in the last video, I quit masturbating in around October. I was working a job, but I wanted to start an online business. So in December, I quit the job and gave my full focus to running the business. That transition period was honestly one of the best things that happened for my whole NoFap journey, because now I had even more structure, more stuff riding on my own discipline, and way less room for excuses. Something like that will definitely help you. A goal. You need a purpose in life. It doesn't have to be starting a business. That's just what worked for me. Could be getting in shape, could be building a skill, could be saving up for something. Whatever actually means something to you. The specific goal doesn't matter as much as just having one, because an empty schedule with nothing to work toward is basically the perfect environment for this habit to thrive in. I also want to say, don't beat yourself up if you relapse while trying this. I relapsed so many times before it actually stuck, and every time I did, I just told myself, okay, that happened, back to the plan tomorrow. The people who actually quit for good aren't the ones who never slipped up. They're just the ones who didn't quit trying after slipping up. That's honestly the biggest mindset shift that helped me more than any single technique. Another thing, get rid of easy access. Sounds obvious, but I mean it. Delete whatever apps or bookmarks make it one tap away. Put your phone in another room at night if you have to. Make the bad habit require actual effort, because most of the time these urges are pretty short. And if you can just make it slightly harder to act on it, the urge passes before you even give in. And my opinion about tracking, don't track. Tracking how many days you're on NoFap just sounds stupid to me. Like I see people with these apps, counters on their phone, streak numbers, all that. I never did any of that shit, and I don't think you should either. If you think about it, every time you track, you think about gooning. That's literally the opposite of what you're trying to do here. You're trying to get this thing out of your head completely, and then you're opening an app every single day that's just reminding you, hey, remember that thing you're trying to quit? Here's a number for it. It keeps the whole thing alive in your brain instead of just letting it fade into the background where it belongs. It's okay to keep in mind how many times you did it this week or month when you are reducing the number of times, like I talked about with the deload method. That's different. That's just a general awareness, so you know if you're actually cutting down or not. But don't write it down and obsess over it. There's a difference between loosely knowing, yeah, I've cut down to like once a week now, and having an actual counter staring at you every day. One is just casual self-awareness, the other one turns the whole thing into a performance, like you're doing it for the streak instead of doing it because you actually want to change. So yeah, that's basically everything that actually helped me. It wasn't one single thing, it was kind of a combination of everything I talked about. If you're struggling with this right now, just pick one of those things and actually start with that. Don't try to do everything at once or you'll burn out on it. If this helped you at all, let me know in the comments and drop your own story down there too. I read all of them, and honestly it helps me know I'm not the only one who went through this. Subscribe if you're new. I'll probably keep talking about this stuff since apparently a lot of you are dealing with the same shit. Alright, that's it for this one.